count money, man. Stack riches. Try and told him I'm a beast blood.
What's up, gang? Welcome to the G.R.I.N.D. Simon Arias here. Get ready, it's a new day. What's up, gang? Welcome to another episode of the G.R.I.N.D. Got Big Perm in the house.
What's up, brother?
Got the biggest biceps in the game in the house. We got Michael Vasu in the house from H-Town, Houston. Look at them guns, brother. Look at that. And for many of you know Mike, but for those of you that don't know Mike, he's super successful in our business, has crushed many company records, and probably sits in a position of probably less than 20 people in the history of our company's 70 plus years have been able to accomplish what he's accomplished, and he's only in his 30s. Yeah. And you're getting better looking by the year. I can honestly tell you that you look better today than you did 10 years ago, 15 years ago, because my man you were getting big. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're already big, but you were an inspiration, brother, because now when I used to think I was half decent looking, I could dress. When I'm with you, no one looks at me. No one looks at me. Everybody looks at you, bro. Guns. But he turned down a full scholarship to law school because he and I started here about the same time. I started in December of 2005. Vasu would come in 2006, January 2006, and I remember being introduced to him, and then we would develop a relationship through the grind. Mm-hmm. Anybody that goes through the grind with you, whether it is playing college football where you go to camp or you go to battle together, or friends that I know that were in the military, when somebody goes through the grind with you, that bond gets stronger. Like me and you went through the grind together. Our bond, my bond with him got stronger. And I remember, Mike, you talking to me about, I don't know what to do, but my mom's probably going to kill me. I don't know if I'm supposed to stay here or go to law school. And he decided to stay here, turned down a full scholarship to law school when his parents were not privileged. They were hard workers. They were first generation to this company immigrants, or to this country immigrants, and then they raise a son. And he gets a full scholarship to law school, and he says, "No, Mom and Dad, I'm going to take a straight commission job in the life insurance industry." Okay, probably not real popular, and he comes in and would end up exploding this business with me, and then we would develop a relationship. And so, Mike, why don't you tell people out there, because it's so inspiring to me. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing and your mom and dad, and kind of tell the story for me.
Thanks, Simon. Yeah, so I think if I think back to my life, and I think you've got to know the history of the person. Like when people get to really know your story, Simon, it puts things in context of what you've done, with your life. And so I think it's always important to have some history and context. And, when you grow up in an immigrant family, like I did, that becomes very central to who you are, because, I was born here. You were born here. Perm was born here. We were all born here, but my parents could have chosen to go live anywhere. And of all the places in the world, they chose to come to the United States. And that was really born out of, my dad, when he was younger, he didn't want to live in a communist country. He didn't want to raise his kids in a communist country. He wanted there to be freedom and opportunity. And he knew that the United States of America was absolutely the best place that you could do that. And so I always joke around, but it's the truth. When I was growing up, my parents would say, Mike, land of opportunity, sky's the limit. You can do and be anything you want in the United States of America. And then they would say, as long as it's a doctor or a lawyer, we're good with it, Yeah. And so they kind of gave me this decision between those two. And so I really thought that it would be easier to become a lawyer than a doctor. It was less school, which I like that. And it just seemed like science and all that kind of stuff was a lot harder for me than understanding laws, So I thought I was gonna go to law school, but after I finished graduate school, I came to American Income because, Nick Zangardi, who was our MGA, Nick was in the business. He was one of my best friends. We grew up together, like literally probably the best guy, you'll ever meet. I mean, just like an angel, and Nick was doing really well. And I was surprised because he's not really a business guy. He's not a sales guy. And so he was doing really well. He told me how much he loved it. And so I gave it a shot. I said, I'll do it for about 7 months, get my feet wet in business. And after about 7 months, I decided to give up a full scholarship to the only law school I applied to stay with American Income. And like Simon said, it wasn't a popular decision. I thought my mom was going to kill me. But now, years later, she talks about what I do like it was her idea. So, it's funny how the tables can get turned. But I think it's really important. I learned some valuable lessons at that time. I learned that just because someone loves you and cares about you doesn't necessarily mean they're going to give you the best advice about how you should live your life. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes, they reflect their aspirations. So my parents, who were blue collar people, my mom, warehouse worker, my dad, steel workers union, growing up in that type of an environment, all they wanted for their kids was for us to not have to be in that environment. So their way out to them was school and having what they consider to be a professional career, But, it's just funny at that time, if my mom and my dad was kind of cool with whatever, but my mom was real hard still, on me at that time. I think if she would have been super supportive, I don't think I would have done as well, because I felt a sense like I had to prove to her I was playing with the chip on my shoulder. I had to show her that it was the right move. And so I was willing to sacrifice more, spend more time in the business, because I did want my parents to be proud of me. And I knew that this was going to be a way to get there. And I've been blown away now. It's amazing to think, Simon, that, it's been 14 and a half, coming close to 15 years that we've been in this business. 15. And how much we've grown.
Flew by.
The relationships we have. I mean, I'm getting married soon, and I'm looking at my wedding party, and it's like 80%, 90% American Income life people.
Yeah. Crazy.
It becomes like a family.
It does. It does, man. I think that it all goes back to that whole aspect of, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. That's part of it. Birds of a feather flock together. And then the other part of it is to really be the greatest in something. And this is what people don't really want to admit or don't talk about enough. The non-glorious grind is, if you're really going to do something big, next level big, they're like 1% big for your life, you're going to have to work so hard. You're going to have to invest so much time that you don't really have time to BS around and party and go to clubs if you're going to build something and all this. Sure. You end up, your friends and in extended family become those that you spend the most of your time with, and the people that you're spending the most of your time with is people that you're grinding with, all building and chasing a dream. Yep. And that's what happens.
Vasu, good morning to you. I want to see your cup that you showed me a little bit ago. Show me your your cup of Joe.
My daughter got me.
I love
good
that,
man, great dad.
It's crazy. I love that.
There's nothing, as a parent, and we all got kids. There's nothing better than children, man. It reflects the innocence of the world. I mean, having the opportunity to raise children there's nothing like it. When they can get to an age where they start making decisions and wanting to do stuff for you, it's like next level. It just gets better every year.
For sure. I just got my cup too today. I'm gonna fill it up for you real quick.
Where did this?
It's crazy that just give me a moment, Vasu. Just let me fill this up real fast.
What?
Man,
Giovanni, you didn't tell me this dude had this. He had to smuggle this over here, you knew about this.
Oh yeah.
This is funny. This is perfect for you, Perm.
Yeah, right. The right
normal size, for you.
So, I mean, how did your swag come about, man? I mean, ever since I've known you, since I've got introduced into you, I mean, your swag is like crazy. Like, you're a great dude. Where'd you get that from?
You're talking about just my personality?
Yeah, just you being you.
So I don't think I've ever talked about this too much.
Yeah,
I think it's a great question, because I think it's a good story for people to hear. When I first went to kindergarten and first grade and second grade, I was really kind of an outcast. I mean, I went to kindergarten, I didn't speak English. I only spoke Romanian. I mean, I knew some words, but I couldn't put a sentence together.
Right.
And so, needless to say, I was like a really weird kid. You know, people, it's not like my classmates attracted to me. They were like, it was kind of weird.
Right.
You know, growing up and going, at that time I was in Cleveland public schools and I was like an outcast.
Right.
You know, I mean, I didn't speak the language. And so, as I got a little bit older, you know, what ended up happening was that I found out, number one, that if I could make people laugh, it would take the focus off of kind of them, you know, giving me some crap, which is what would happen, you know, when I was younger. And then what I learned was that a couple older people that I went to school with, kind of, maybe they felt bad for me because I was getting picked on, you know, when I was really young, but they kind of took me under their wing a little bit. And I remember how good that felt to have that kind of protection, you know, from someone that was older. And so as I kind of hung out, as I became older and I started to get a better sense of myself, my own personal, you know, sense of security.
Right.
As I got a little bit older, I liked to play that role as well for younger people. Like if I would see an outcast in school, I'd go sit next to that person, have a conversation with them. And I just became really secure in myself. And it was born out of someone else kind of raising me up, someone giving me wings when I didn't think I had them. And so that kind of really inspired me for the rest of my life. And I've wanted to give that to people because I'll never forget what that feeling was like.
You got jet fuel, not wings anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got jet fuel. How is it? How is it? Of course, you live in Texas, traveling back and forth to see your daughter. How is that? Like how hard is that to do? Being a business owner and do what you do. Yeah,
it's been challenging because, you know, every month, you know, I'm basically, it ends up being about an average of about a week a month, you know, seven days or so of travel. And it is a huge challenge. There's no doubt about it. It's one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do on multiple levels. But, you know, I always kind of live by the motto that sacrifice creates opportunity. It's my personal motto. It's the way that I've always looked at life. And so what I try to do is I try to take the emotion out of the work element of it. And I more so attach emotion to the vision of what I'm trying to accomplish and achieve. And it makes it so easy for me to make.
Can you say that again? Because we got to make sure that this is what you just got done saying. People understood clearly.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I try not to attach emotion to the work that's got to be done, to the sacrifice that has to be made. But I more so attach emotion to the opportunity, to the vision of what I'm trying to achieve. Because the work, you know, I guess what, you know, and you guys know this, nobody likes the work part. You know, it seems fun to do a podcast. It seems fun to have all this stuff up, but that's a process that takes years to develop. And it's a lot of work, but then you get to enjoy it. You know, you get to do what you love to do. And so for me, it's a non-negotiable. I have to have a great relationship with my daughter. And, you know, I'll tell you that my biggest inspiration for that, Simon, you know, was Marcus. Is the way that Marcus, as committed of a father as he is, inspired me to say, you know what, no excuses. If he can do what he does, then I can certainly jump on an airplane, you know, for a couple hours every other weekend to go spend that time with my daughter, because I'll never get that time back.
Right. And
I'm sure she'll get to an age when, you know, she's 15, 16, 17 years old, and she'll say, Dad, you don't have to come back every other weekend. You know, I got friends and I want to do stuff on the weekends, and I'll have to understand that'll probably be pretty tough. I've been thinking about that day for a long time. But, you know, when I think about the it's so priceless to have a relationship with people. And, you know, as you get older, you really understand friendships, family. I mean, these are irreplaceable. There's no amount of, you know, most things, there's a certain amount of money. Like, I love what I do at American Income, but for the right amount of money, I probably would leave my job.
Boom.
There's no amount of money that I would take for me to lose my relationship with my daughter. It would never, there's no price that you could, I would never sell myself out that way.
Right. Now, talking about relationships, how did you and this guy, Mr. Arias, how'd you guys meet? Where'd you guys meet at? How'd you guys come to talk to each other?
Yeah.
How'd that work out?
So I knew about Simon before he knew about me, for sure, because I was really good friends with Nick, and I knew at that time I was going to get into the business. And Simon came out and he grew amazing right away, you know? And so he was making an instant impact. And I remember actually being at Nick's house, Simon, one time, and this was before you and I even got a chance to meet. And you asked him, you did a walkout close in a house, and you called him to get a couple tips of advice before you went back into that house. This was like December of 2005. This is like right after you got released. And I remember, and he's like, Simon, and Mark, you know, Nick goes, this guy's going to be an animal. And so, of course, I was interested. I couldn't wait to meet him, and so I remember that we met, and I don't know if it was Marcus or Nick. They said something smart, like, Vasu's going to catch you or something. And Simon said to me, he goes, well, I'm like Deion Sanders. And that was a reference to the combine when Deion Sanders went to ask him, like, how fast do you think you're going to run the 40? And his response was at least a tenth of a second faster than anybody else. He didn't put a time on it. He just knew he was going to win. Right. So, so I liked him right away because he said that. And I said, I like this guy. And so we had the opportunity, really to become close early on. And, at that time, Marcus was just establishing himself as an SGA. And I think we both really admired his youth, his youthfulness, and we wanted to be in his circle. And to be in Marcus's circle is that's like a very fiery place to be at times. It's not for everybody.
Amen.
Right? So you got to take some hard coaching.
Especially 14 years ago, 15 years ago.
That was rough.
Without a doubt. So, we found ourselves kind of in similar situations, and then we ended up road tripping together. At that time, it was not how it is now. We can do virtual and be on Zoom.
You guys were on road trips?
We were on road trips.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Just in the sticks in Ohio.
My favorite spot, Uricksville.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That's
New
right.
Philadelphia, Denison. We used to hit that area together.
We would hit the road, on Tuesday and be gone till Saturday. And every week, that's what we did for months. And that's where we really cut our teeth in the business because, there was nothing else to do at that Best Western. The only thing you could do is get up and go to work, and you learn work ethic. And, when you're with someone and the more success you have in your life, and I wouldn't consider myself to be successful, but the more success you have, the more you realize how hard it is to be successful. Mm-hmm. That's why it's like, only the people that are haters are either right. They have a reason to hate the person's unethical or they do something shady or something like that. Right. Maybe they have some truth to it. But generally speaking, people that are haters are people that are just not successful enough because they've never applied themselves to the level that you need to achieve success. Because if you do, you know how hard it is. How could you have anything but admiration for someone that gets up and goes to work every day? Like, I was thinking about how ridiculous it would be.
You respect the game too much.
Yeah.
Because you know what it takes.
That's right. Exactly.
You guys are like rappers, man.
Little things, little things like, I have people all the time, I run a business and Simon, you do too. But like in our business, I have people all the time like, oh, I overslept. I overdid this. Like, could you imagine someone being like, oh, I had a meeting with Jim Surace, but he overslept?
No, never.
It would never happen.
Ever.
That's not possible.
No.
So it's really the little things, doing the little things right. And when you see someone doing the little things right, you know that they're not doing it for accolades. This was pre-real social media. I mean, Simon came real late to the game in social media, but this was pre-social media.
I hated social media, remember?
Part of this,
That's right.
Yeah.
So listen, like we'd get up in the morning and this guy's ready to go to work, and it wasn't because he wanted to post it with the selfie that he was going to work.
Right.
He was going to work.
Right.
And he did this every single day. And so, I was raised with a similar work ethic. My dad was working 2 and 3 jobs. My dad wasn't around hanging out and all that kind of stuff. He was at work. And what I was raised to believe was that men go to work and they don't complain about it. They appreciate the opportunity to be able to work and provide for their family.
Yep.
That's why I love that SCO. Sacrifice creates opportunity. It's a very simply put way to explain to somebody how they need to get to where they want to go. Because if you show me somebody great in something, or they have a great opportunity, I'll show you someone that sacrificed in order to create that opportunity either for themselves or their parents did it, just like we're trying to do it as parents for our children. And I think if somebody were to look at what you have been willing to do in order to have the ability to create opportunity for others in a sense of employment and in your family and your children, and we'll even get into the next phase that's getting ready to happen. But your what you've sacrificed, most people wouldn't be willing to sacrifice, or they would make an excuse about, going home. And what I've learned, I'm not in the situation of, only coming home every other weekend, but I do hit the road sometimes for a few days, with Perm. And I know that I put in a lot of hours still, and I don't have to. Hopefully I don't demotivate people that want to live the dream and they're like, well, what's the sense of putting in the work because you never get a chance to enjoy it? Believe me, We enjoy it. Believe me, Natalie enjoys it. And the family enjoys it. But what I enjoy doing is working. And I enjoy that because there's a chip on my shoulder that I still have to try to play for other kids that are inner city youth that I want to provide for. There's other people in my organization that came here because of them believing that I could put their life in a better place. And I need to grind for that every single day to make those people's belief in me validated. And so I'm not cool with not putting in the work. So it leaves me at a spot where I do get time with my kids. I'm there and we have a bond, but I just know it's probably not at the level of the people that get off of work at 4 or 5 o'clock all the time. And when I do, I know that our time that I have with the kids is so quality that I can feel us getting closer, maybe even than if I were to take that time for granted because I'm there all the time, because we have this quality bonding relationship that I'm proud of when I'm out with the kids. And I know you got that bond, with your daughter as well. And I think sometimes people with good hearts that want to be parents, they're like, well, maybe I shouldn't, do what's required to be successful here in this because I don't want to neglect, the child. And everybody's situation is different. I know, not everybody's life is the same or motivations are the same, but I know your mom and dad sacrificed to give you a better opportunity. I know my mom and grandmother sacrificed to give me a better opportunity, and shame on me to not do the same thing for the next generation coming, after me. Is that, how you would describe, one of my favorite sayings that's not my own that I reference all the time, that sacrifice creates opportunity no matter what it is?
Yeah. You got to give something up. It's a trade-off. And what I always tell people is that if you really want to be successful, this pursuit of balance it's a very broken pursuit. It's very difficult to have balance if you want to achieve greatness. You can have boundaries though. You can say, during these hours, I have positioned myself by being responsible and making good decisions. And I'm going to set this time aside to spend with my children focused, because most people say they need more time with their kids. And it's like, stick the kid in front of the TV and then come back 2 hours later to check on them. That's not really spending time with your kids. And what I always try to remind people, and I just use really simple math. There's 168 hours in a week. Okay. If you sleep 7 hours a night, we'll call it 50 hours a week. Okay. That leaves 118 hours. I mean, if you work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, that's 84 hours. You still have, you still have 34 hours. That's if you worked 9 to 9, 7 days a week. Nobody does that, Simon. As hard as we've worked, we didn't work 9 to 9 every single day.
Right.
So when people say they don't have, 34 hours, in those 34 hours, that's it. You're not sleeping and you're not working. Right. You don't have time to spend with your kids in 34 hours. You don't have time to go to the gym in 34 hours. It's ridiculous. It's just, so I just show people math.
Yep. Truth, man.
Yeah. Like this business right here that we got here, that you guys, it's like being a rapper. They see all the cars, the rims, right? But they don't see the work that it takes to do that. You know what I mean? It's a lot of work, like you guys do. A lot of work.
I wonder what Vasu's rap name would be. Perm, what would you?
Oh man,
off the cuff. What
I don't
you
know.
Think,
I mean, you dress fly. That's for sure. I like you. Only cat I know that you got. It's like if you watching your shoes and your leg, you don't wear socks. I mean, you do, but you got that little gap in between. That you and only I know that you can pull that off, dog. I mean, you look fly. I'm talking fly the motherfucker with that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, what would your rap name be? I don't know. What would you call yourself, Vasu? If you had one, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know what I know. You got a super tight fade right now, and you just stay polished like you just stepped out of the GQ
always
magazine
clean.
Over there, brother. I
always
know that.
Clean. Always.
MCSCO. It would have to be something like that,
I like it. You should show these people. You guys, you should show these people the pager.
Oh,
you remember the pager I used to sucker you into doing in front of everybody? Me and Marcus, we love seeing him do that. The pager. I mean, if you can see, he just he shakes his whole body.
I used to be able to, do
his
this.
whole 6'5", 260-pound body, and it just, it's like his whole body shaking. That was like
having a heart attack.
One of his things.
Like having a heart attack.
Can you still do that, or would you pull a muscle?
It's been a while, and if I stood up, it would be probably weird. It wouldn't be the right camera angle because I don't have the same steps you guys have.
Tased.
But shaking I think I can still.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. He's shaking like he's getting tased. There he is. Bam. Got it. My man.
I love it, dude. Vasu, man.
Vasu.
What advice, maybe would you give to someone that's, in our business, there's no way to get to where you want to go. I mean, just in life, to get to where you want to go, without going through some obstacles and adversities. And, I think when people look at you, because that's what we're talking about right now in this podcast, is that, when they look at others, but I'm going to say when people look at you and they see you, with the woman of what seems to be your dreams. Absolutely. Which let's just stop there for a minute. Yep. That's an obstacle. We were, slated to get married months ago. Yep. You're marrying my girl Daisy, which, I don't know what put me in the president of what you're supposed to be doing with your life department, but I've always shared with him unsolicited opinions and advice in his life and date life. Yeah. And I've been super protective with my dude because I know he got good looks. He got good swag. His heart is as big as your draws. Yeah, I mean, he has a huge heart, very big. Big time. Okay, it's the best way I can describe it. So I had to, because he's a loyal cat. Yeah. So once he's in, he's in. So I'm like, Vasu, I don't want to see you doing this, or, you can't like this one. And I'm coming into it negative. I'm already coming into it like I don't trust you. You know what I mean? And Daisy never ever gave me that vibe. Not that my opinion matters to her or not. We got a good relationship, but I just genuinely can say from my heart that I always had a great vibe about Daisy, and I'm actually genuinely excited to watch you get married. And we had to bump the thing, back. Why don't you talk about what that's been like this year in the midst of getting married, and how your relationship is, and what happened with the COVID-19 with your wedding? Yeah.
Well, so, we got engaged in September, and we kind of tossed around the idea of doing a little bit of a longer engagement or not. And, we've both been married before. So we thought, why don't we just kind of move a little bit more quickly, because we hope that, God will bless us with the opportunity to have a family. Yep. And I'm not getting any younger, I just turned 38 years old. And so, all this COVID stuff starts happening. Wait, what's that?
You look 25.
Thank you. I'm working on it. I'm trying to stay. It helps to be with a woman that's 10 years younger.
Oh, there you go.
But keeps me younger.
There you go.
But so what?
Giovanni's giving you the thumbs up back there. He wants you to know that
that's a great job.
He agrees.
He's in the same boat.
I thought that weddings and stuff were going to get a pass on this COVID thing, but nothing is. Funerals, nothing has. So literally the day the CDC announced that there were going to be these restrictions, our wedding planner called us and said, hey, we're going to have to move the wedding. They haven't told us this yet, but I'm certain that we're going to have to. And sure enough, she was right. And so we have a great wedding planner in Cleveland, and she's phenomenal. And she basically took care of everything. We had to change the venue. We had to change the date. And it was disappointing. And we were just talking about this last night. What was really disappointing was on the day that the wedding was supposed to happen, May 2nd, we got flowers, edible arrangements, cakes brought to our house, people that were thinking about us. And it made us feel so blessed in the midst of a situation that was so, upsetting in a lot of ways and disappointing, to have the friends that we had that cared about us enough to think about us, during that time. And so, we're grateful. We're definitely not going to move it again. If October 24th doesn't happen,
it is what it is.
Then we're going to just get married and just have our wedding party there if they can make it. And, just celebrate with a really small group of people. And, we gotta take life as it is.
If things don't work out and we need to get creative and that happens, if Jim isn't available. Maybe Perm can marry you. Perm, can we dress you up in a priest thing? Would they fit that around?
I look good in the suit, buddy.
Come on.
I believe it.
With a big gold chain, with the Jesus piece. Jesus would be right there with you. You know what I mean? Right. Because boom, he loves just wearing the big Jesus piece.
Last couple of days of being Mr. Vasu by yourself, how does your new wife to be? Can she wait to be and have your last name, Miss Vasu?
How is she?
You know, how long
is she excited
about getting your last name?
Yeah, she's thrilled. Yeah. Daisy is. We've had such a great relationship, like Simon said. We really don't argue much. It's very rare. She's like got a very.
That's one of the things I love about her. You know, is I noticed real quick that she was supportive of the process in the grind, because your wife can only be in one or two places. And we learned this from one of the disciples, Fred Hadiah, in the game. She could either be on your side or on your back.
For real. Yeah.
And it's very hard to do what's necessary to be successful if your wife or spouse or significant other is not on your side. And so I think she's been pretty supportive, it seems like to me.
Yeah, but I think as you get older too, Simon, for me at least, you know, I've been through a divorce. I've been through some, you know, kind of rocky relationships and stuff. And what you learn is the person is not bad, but the relationship just didn't work. And so you start to think about, why didn't it work? So when Daisy and I got together, I kind of gave her this list of, here are all the reasons you probably don't want to be in a relationship with me. You know, I'm like, I got a daughter in Ohio. I go see her every other weekend. I got a good relationship with her.
The list of concerns.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And she said, I'm good with all that. Actually, all the stuff you're worried about are things that I admire about you. I admire that you go visit your daughter every other weekend. I love that you got a great relationship with your ex-wife instead of being like this with each other all the time, but button heads. That would be hell to be in a relationship with someone like that.
Right.
You know, and so all the things that I was concerned with that I thought potentially could cause issues, they were all positives to her. And she's proven over the last couple of years that she was being sincere.
Amen.
You guys look great together.
Thank you.
For sure. Like the Bachelorette. I mean, you guys look great.
She makes me better. She makes me better, and she's tough.
Good.
You know, she was a power lifter in high school, you know.
Be careful.
Be careful.
Oh, yeah.
Be careful. She get you down, brother.
She was an athlete, power lifter. She grew up in Texas. You know, in Texas, one of the things I learned about Texas is that in Texas, especially the guys, they're always ready to kill something. They got guns, they got knives on them. They got to go hunting, fishing. Every picture they take is with a dead animal, holding up antlers, holding up fish. And, you know, Daisy has a sister. And so when she was growing up, her dad kind of raised her a little bit like a tomboy. So she went hunting and fishing, and she's much more outdoorsy than I am. Actually, I look like, it's like almost like the traditional gender roles are reversed. You know, she's like the guy almost in a lot of ways. So it's cool to get that and to have that experience. So it makes it really easy for us to get along. And
what's her background? Isn't she from Hispanic descent?
Yeah, her on her mom's side, her grandfather's from Mexico. Her grandmother was born in Spain, and her grandfather's actually is a pastor. And so on her dad's side, though, her dad is, you know, he's mixed, mostly European, but he's got some Native American. And so she's a mix of most things, but she's half Hispanic.
Well,
gotcha. Like me.
Yep.
Like me.
That's right.
But Perm is 1.5 Hispanic. So
they
together we make 2.
Yeah. No extra.
You know, as we close out, Mike, you know, if people looked at your life from the relationship you have with your friends, your family, getting ready to get married to a beautiful woman, nice suits and blazers, and, you know, helping a lot of people. You look at your life and it looks like, you know, it's all W's, all wins, all success. And, you know, what advice would you give to someone? And we're all still on the grind. We're always going to be on the grind, but you know, the real grind, bro. Like this ain't the real grind anymore. You know what I mean? This ain't us door knocking. These people are giving Zoom meetings. Okay. Right. This ain't us driving 3 hours away to get to our appointment and staying in hotels and for 6-7 days. And, you know, this ain't, we're not in the middle of that, nor is the company even like that anymore. But we are not in that type of the process yet. It's still a grind. It's a different grind. You got to take care of yourself mentally, because there's a lot of stress. But it's not what some people that are going to be the new Vasu and Simon 10 years from today or 5 years from today. Those people are hopefully coming, and me and you, of course, we just want to give them the game, man. You know, just tell them what it takes, what it requires, serve them, help them, and try to position them well at this point of our life, dog.
That's right.
But someone's listening to this that's in that process.
Yep.
And they're probably gonna go through shit. You know, the things that no one talks about or sees. They just see you with a nice red blazer with a nice girl getting ready to get married, driving fast cars, and it looks like you're just living the dream. But I watched you get beat up. I watched you go through obstacles. I've watched you go through adversities. I've watched you go through not physical fights, but just, you have to get through battle here and be war tested in order to really win at the highest levels. And I've watched you battle tested, and you've watched me battle tested. And the people that are going to make it have to go through battle. We can help them with the battle now. You know what I mean? It's like having snipers, or, we got
That's
you,
right.
but you have to go through the battle to get to that. Why don't you help someone or give them some advice? The times where you've gone through obstacles and valleys, how have you gotten through those, and what suggestions would you give to those people that may be in a valley right now?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. One of the things that I've kind of experienced and learned too over the years, Simon, is that you're right. The grind has changed for us in a lot of ways, because when you're brand new, you're kind of like, it's almost like all day and all night, you're just doing all the things you really don't want to do, but you have to get to the next step, right? And I have spent so much time in my career trying to make it easier for the people that have come after us. It's almost like a parent wants life to be a little bit easier for their kids. Right?
Absolutely.
And sometimes I wonder if I'm not painting the accurate picture of what it really takes. I wonder if I'm weakening people because
I'm not keeping it real with them. There's rules to the game.
Right.
TD Jakes, who I love and I know you do too, has one of his sermons. He said that God's reward for us overcoming problems are bigger problems. And so the reality is that it's not about the situation you're in right now, but what God is preparing you for in the future. That is so important to keep in mind. So been through a lot of challenges. Actually, most of the time, this business, and in any business, anything that you do, I mean, you see, I know you like MMA, or you see boxers, right? They may box twice a year. They're training the rest of the year. There's no glamour in that. There's no glory in the jumping rope and punching the bag and hitting the weight room and hitting the sauna and doing all the things that they have to do to prepare themselves. So game time and celebration time is such a small percentage of the time.
Truth.
That if you fall in love with only being in a good mood and performing when that happens, you're never going to be able to experience it.
Right.
Come on.
And I think to be, a real adult, a real man, a real woman, the type of person that can be an example to other people, complaining is one of the worst things that you can do. And I've done my share of complaining. Okay. But I try to complain to people that can help me and put me in the right state of mind. If I complained to Simon when we were coming up in the business, he would immediately flip things around and get me into the right mindset. And so the people you surround yourself with are absolutely critical for your success. The more you can do without complaining, like, it's early, so what? It's late, so what? I'm working a lot of hours, so what? Are your goals big? Are your dreams big? Do you want to accomplish a lot? It's going to be hard. That's the reality. And where I want to go in my life, easy is not an option. It's going to be hard, because at some point in time, my heart's going to stop. I'm going to die. When is that? I don't know. It could be tomorrow. How do I want to go down? You know what I mean? Don't you want to go down fighting for something? People are like, what happens if you die tomorrow and you put in all this work? Then my daughter will know that her dad was a responsible dad, that he cared about her, that he cared about the people that were in his business, and that he was willing to make sacrifices to create opportunity for other people, because that's what it really comes down to. As time goes on, as you get a little bit older, you get a little bit more experience, you realize that there's just no price that you could put on being able to change people's lives. And that's what American Income's given me. That's what it's given you, Simon, is the opportunity to change people's lives. And I'm not someone that should ever be in that position. I grew up blue collar. We didn't have money growing up. I mean, we went on vacation when I was growing up. And look, my parents did everything for us. I mean, I would never sacrifice to the extent they did, but we would jump in a minivan and drive 13 hours to Myrtle Beach and get a place across the street from the beach because it was way too expensive to stay on the beach. And my mom would bring pots and pans from home, and we would go to the grocery store, and she'd cook in that condo that we rented for the week across the street from the beach. And because who can afford to go out to eat all the time, right? But that's remembering that and remembering where I came from. It's very easy for me to remind myself that I ain't got it that bad. Amen. I'm not digging ditches. I'm not working factory work. My dad would come home cut up, fiberglass all over his body.
Perspective.
We couldn't get anywhere near him. So I think perspective, having an appreciation for the opportunity, not attaching emotion to things. I mean, that's the biggest thing, is controlling the emotions and asking yourself, look, we went through a really challenging time in 2017 and 18 in this business for my agency. And you want to know when things got better? When instead of saying, well, we had a hurricane, or we had this personnel issue, or we had these people get promoted, you know what I said? We had these problems, and I'm not a good enough leader to handle it yet. And if I was a better leader, we wouldn't be in this position.
Taking responsibility.
When you do that, I got to tell you, you want to release the stress? Stop trying to live a lie. In your heart, you're just not good enough right now. And that's okay.
It is.
What are you learning, and how are you getting better? What is God preparing you for? And so you have those tough challenges. A lot of people give up. That's the time to mount up. That's the time to take it to the next level, because once you overcome this isn't going to be hard anymore. Now you're going to have bigger challenges. And if you want to have a big impact, you're going to have big challenges.
You can only move forward once you can accept the reality and you have self-awareness. That's why, I remember one time I got in trouble as a juvenile, and part of my punishment was I had to do some community service, and I had to go to an AA meeting, and I had to be a part of so many of them. And when I went there, I remember watching in person what we all know now but I watched it in person, and they made you stand up and say, hello, my name is Simon, and I'm an alcoholic. And because that's I want you not to put you down, not to make you feel like crap about yourself, right, but to just say, for right now, let's at least accept what's real. You know what I mean? Where are you really at? Just like in jiu-jitsu, I'm a brown belt right now. That's just reality of where I'm at. It's good in some cases, but I'm not good enough to be a black belt. I don't deserve that. I'm not there yet. We still have a lot of work to do, buddy. But if you put the work in, you can be there too, just like these other normal people that have that black belt. And so what you're saying is just be accepting of what belt that you're wearing that current time. That's the only way to improve and get better, is to realize it's not that jiu-jitsu doesn't work. It's just that you're at this level right now. You need to be at this level, and to be at that level, it takes a lot of non-glorious hours put in sweat equity, in injury recovery, in injury prevention, when no one's watching, in order to win when everybody is watching. That's what you're saying. So you got to keep it real and accept on yourself that the greater you want to be to help others, serve others, do more, produce more, the more problems you're going to have. That's why Notorious B.I.G. said, more money, more problems. Okay. You have to handle those problems. And sometimes they're different problems and bigger problems with more on the line. And if you can handle those, then you graduate and go to the next level. And until you are prepared to handle those and you just make excuses, you never get promoted to the next level is what he's trying to say and what we're trying to say. And if you really look at it in perspective to what you do understand in life, even if you don't yet understand business, you understand basketball, you understand something, and you ain't going to find nobody that got great at anything, even if it's breakdancing, without putting in a lot of work and having some bumps and bruises and doing what other people don't want to do. Mike, I just want to thank you for joining us on the Grindcast. I want to thank you even more for being an unbelievable man and friend to me. I'm blessed to be in your life, really. Anybody that has you in their life is blessed to have you as a part of their life. I always say, and I'll just continue to say, the biggest compliment that I think you could pay a man is to say that you're such a good person. I want for my daughter to marry somebody like you.
That's true. 100.
I mean, I don't let my daughter go. I mean, Maya,
yeah.
Dudes ain't even, no one's ever been to my house yet. And I'm inviting people that want to, possibly take her on a date. She's 18, that if you can come to me and show me love and respect and let me look in your eyeballs and see what's in your heart, and you feel me for a minute, then I will be cool with and support. Maya can go ahead and step out with you for a second and see how you do with that. When Sienna's that age, it's not going to be any easier. So for me to say that you would be someone that I hope my daughter meets someone like you.
Yeah, for sure.
Is about the biggest compliment that I can pay to somebody, and all of us have daughters, so you know exactly what I'm trying to put into words, and that's why I use it that way. That's how good of a dude in person that you are. In anytime I need anything with the youth program, whether you had it or you didn't have it, as much as you always had it, regardless of where you were at, and you always were there to support and help, no matter what. And those are the things that people don't see and don't know. And I'm just so grateful to have you in my life, and I'm so proud of you for what you have accomplished so far. And that we're just really getting started in this game. So I'm excited. Lord willing, if we get blessed with the second half at AIO, I think me and you are just going into the locker room right now to warm up to come out for the second half of our AIO career right now. And we about to storm the field, brother. So thank you, Vasu. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Grindcast. Share this. Get ready. It's a new day.
Count money, man. Stack riches. Try and told him I'm a beast, bud.